My name is Hans Moor. I am the president of Citizens for Safe Cycling in Ottawa. Citizens for Safe Cycling is a bicycle advocacy group. We were founded about 30 years ago when we had a number of accidents, and then a group of cyclists at that time decided to get together and stand up for the cyclists. Cycling advocacy was probably initially a little bit more aggressive because you have to get attention, and when you're a very small minority, then obviously you have to make a lot of noise. But I think over time, when cycling became more accepted in the general public, I think that we have become a bit more moderate and more cooperative than in the past. But I think that's a normal process in advocacy groups. So typically when you get involved with advocacy, you want to approach a number of the decision makers and you want to influence the general public. So you kind of use a multi-pronged approach. You have to prepare the public that you want to have some changes in your society, and you want to prepare your decision makers that they start to think that other options are possible. That's not a process that's, I would say, a linear process. You have 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But what we found over time is that in general people are willing to listen as long as you're patient and you kind of adjust a little bit to the public that you want to reach. You cannot really change something on your own, so you have to have at least a few hundred people who support you, and you have to be well organized that you speak on behalf of all these people. If you can prove through lists or through meetings or getting subgroups out in certain wards that this issue is alive, then you can actually get somewhere. But actually getting to the next step is doing research. It's very important to come with data, and I strongly believe in data. At a certain point we had somebody who had some connections, and he managed to get some funding from the city, some funding from ourselves, some funding from the NCC, and some funding from a company, and we put all this money together and we put some bike counters under the ground. So now counters were counting for us, so we didn't have to count anymore. I actually wrote a letter to the city council based on this data, and I said, well, did you know that between November and February we had 43,000 people cycling, and this is winter time? One of the councillors says, I don't believe that, and he tasked the city staff to count those, to check this data. He didn't know that we were actually using the city data ourselves. So they came back and said, yeah, Hans is right, it's 43,000 people. So with data you can actually convince people. So it's very important to use data instead of emotions. If I could give an advice to an advocacy group, I would say figure out a message, figure out a positive message, and make sure you don't get off your message.